There, look. Ta-da!
No, baby, be careful. Please be careful. I just don't want it to break again.
What's that?
James.
The scene transitions to someone editing the video and saving it on their desktop. From clues on the screen, it's implied that James passed away. June, now 18, is overwhelmed with text messages from friends asking for money to buy something. While dealing with this, her mom calls, and June teases her about overusing Siri. Recently, Grace started dating Kevin Lynn, and the couple plan a week-long trip to Colombia. Before leaving, Grace gives June some rules. No drinking, no letting strangers in, and keeping her location on at all times. She also mentions Heather, a lawyer who has a spare key to their house in case June needs help. June feels annoyed at being treated like a child, but the mention of emergency money piqued her interest. She quickly takes $120 from it to lend to her friend Vina. She then reminds June to pick them up on Monday when they return. Eventually, Grace and Kevin depart in their Uber. Soon after, June gets a text from her friend Vina, letting her know they're all set for the party at her house. Later, Kevin sends her photos from the plane, showing they've made it to Colombia. One evening, Heather, her mom's friend, stops by to bring food for June. During their conversation, Heather hints at feeling a bit envious of Grace's happy relationship with Kevin. Meanwhile, June, partying and drinking with her friends, steadily burning through her emergency funds, while her mom and Kevin continue sending cheerful photos from their trip to Colombia. June enjoys her carefree days with friends until Father's Day arrives. Ignoring the significance of the date, she drinks heavily at a party and eventually ends up vomiting. Later that night, she sits alone in the dark, watching an old video of her dad on the camera. She posts a photo of her father on Instagram, expressing how much she wishes he were still there. The next morning, June wakes up and realizes a week has passed. It's time to pick up her mom and Kevin from the airport. With her house in complete disorder, she hires a cleaning service online. At the airport, June waits, but her mother and Kevin never appear. Worried, she repeatedly calls and messages them, but gets no response. Panicked, June contacts the hotel in Colombia using Google Translate and learns her mom and Kevin left their belongings behind. The CCTV footage will be erased in 48 hours unless accessed in person. Unable to travel, June turns to Heather, who contacts the embassy. They provide a missing person form, and June urgently requests an agent to retrieve the footage. FBI agent Park explains they must rely on Colombian authorities due to jurisdiction limits, causing delays. With only 6 hours left, Park advises accessing Grace's email for clues, but June struggles to guess the correct password despite multiple attempts. Desperate, June hires Javier, an English-speaking worker on GoNinja, a Colombian TaskRabbit-like service, to retrieve the hotel footage. Javier, who hasn't seen his son in years, sympathizes with June and agrees to help. At June's house, Vina joins her, and they brainstorm ways to access Kevin's accounts. Believing he reuses passwords, they use Vina's deep voice to call a site's customer service, providing Kevin's details. Their plan works, and June gains access to Kevin's Google account, enabling her to track his phone. When June checks Kevin's Google journey history, there's no data from the day before their flight to LA. Soon after, Javier calls with bad news. The hotel footage is gone. However, a cleaning lady recalls seeing 2 Americans heading to a hardware store, raising June's suspicions about Kevin. June tracks Kevin's credit card activity and finds purchases at 8 hardware stores in the area. She asks Javier to visit each store and talk to the witnesses who might have seen him. While Javier investigates, June goes through Kevin's emails and finds a photo of a woman. Vina notices the email address linked to the photo, sparking their curiosity. They check Kevin's blocked contacts and discover a list of women, many of whom seem to have financial disputes with him.
Whoa,
June and Vina discover that Kevin used multiple fake identities with women who later demanded their money back. A Google search of his aliases reveal his criminal past. He was a convicted felon who served 3 years in prison, released just last year. Angry that Agent Park hadn't disclosed this, June confronts him, but Park reminds her that evidence obtained illegally can't be used in court. Determined, June investigates the woman in the bunny cake email, finding her Instagram and workplace. She learns the woman hasn't been seen in 2 weeks. Checking Kevin's location history again, June sees he often visited her workplace. Using one of Kevin's frequent locations, June finds a friend of his, Jimmy, and gets his phone number. Jimmy, also an ex-offender, shares that he met Kevin in church and believes Kevin has tried to turn his life around. Meanwhile, Javier updates June, revealing he found a receipt showing Kevin bought a lock but couldn't uncover anything else. Grateful for his help, June thanks him.
Just this.
A lock.
Determined, June searches online to learn how her mom and Kevin met. She finds an email leading to their first dating app conversation, revealing a genuine connection and that Grace knew about Kevin's past. Using her mom's profile information, June finds a romantic spot near the lock shop, the walled City Love Lock Bridge. She asks Javier to check, and he confirms a lock with Kevin and Grace's initials. Through live cameras, June sees Kevin proposing to Grace. Moments later, Agent Park sends her a recording of their snatching.
Wait, he's pulling something out of his pocket.
After the proposal, and uncovers a suspicious money transfer from Grace's account. June discovers the woman in the live photo isn't Grace, but Bunny Cake. The FBI confirms Grace was snatched in Los Angeles, not in Colombia. Rachel Page, hired by Kevin, and the Uber driver were part of his scheme. In Colombia, the FBI finds Kevin paid students to stage the snatching. Rachel is arrested, but claims Kevin hired her as a call artist to mimic Grace for what he had said was a reality TV show. Agent Park asks if Grace ever used another name, but June insists she only went by Grace Allen. The news reveals a shocking twist. Grace Allen is just one of many aliases, and her true identity is sealed by court order. Even Heather, her friend, doesn't know the truth. The FBI states Grace isn't a suspect, but rumors spread online, suggesting she may have been Kevin's accomplice to disappear. The speculation causes an online frenzy, leaving June overwhelmed but determined to dig deeper. Searching Kevin's internet history, June finds an encrypted messaging app. Pretending to be Kevin, she logs in and discovers a recent chat. Tracing the phone number, she learns the chat was with Heather. Determined to investigate, June visits Heather's office, secretly recording with her smartwatch. Inside, she finds files being deleted from a computer, indicating someone was recently there. She also discovers a threatening note warning Heather to stay silent, and her broken necklace on the floor. June goes into the office storage room and discovers that Heather has been killed. Agent Park concludes that Heather likely knew something Kevin didn't want revealed. However, since Kevin is still in Colombia, the mystery deepens. Afterward, the FBI tracks Kevin's location using footage sent to June. And when he tries to escape, police shoot him dead. Feeling lost, June listens to her mom's old voicemails for her first time. One message calls her Junebug, sparking a memory. She tries using Junebug as a password and successfully logs into her mom's Gmail account. From there, she checks her mom's last known location, which was near the Los Angeles airport, and finds a blocked email. Following a trail from Kevin's email, June discovers security cameras Kevin purchased for the blocked email sender. Using Kevin's email and a new password, she logs into the camera system and sees they're installed at an abandoned house. Shockingly, the house is her old vacation home, and she recognizes part of the interior. June receives a call from Jimmy, Kevin's friend from church, claiming he has information about Grace. To her shock, Jimmy arrives at her house. Terrified, June is stunned when he removes his head covering, revealing he is her father. James, alive after 12 years. James reveals that Grace Allen isn't her mother's real name. She was originally Sarah. He claims they argued frequently, and Sarah falsely accused him, leading to his imprisonment. Afterward, she disappeared with June. James admits meeting Kevin in prison and accuses Grace of keeping June from him. June realizes James orchestrated Kevin's connection to her mom and likely planned everything. When she tries to answer a call from Vina, James grabs her and locks her in the trunk of his car. In a 2008 flashback, young June plays with James, but after she leaves, he yells at Sarah without reason. Sarah later discovers drugs in the attic, revealing James's addiction and abusive behavior. After enduring domestic violence, Sarah reports him to the police, and he threatens revenge. To protect June, she changes her identity to Grace Allen with Heather's advice, and cuts ties with everyone. She also edits the video from the film's start to hide James's abuse. In the present, James drags June to an isolated house, ties her to a chair, and heads to a shed where he has Sarah captive. He plans to kill her for keeping him from June for 12 years. Sarah fights back, knocking him out and locking him in the shed. As James shoots at the lock to escape, Sarah rushes to the house and frees June.
June and I have to go.
Sarah reveals that James killed Heather to hide their past. As she and June try to escape, James locks them inside and starts digging a grave for Sarah. Panicking, June uses a camera and her smartwatch to contact Javier, asking him to use her Instagram photo to find the house and call the police. The call drops just as James returns, demanding the watch. Sarah steps in to protect June and is shot. June tries to flee, but James tackles her. In a final act, Sarah stabs him in the neck with a shard. Injured, James locks them in and stumbles away, but collapses and dies before reaching help. June rushes to her mom, tearfully apologizing. Remembering her mom's use of Surrey, she uses the CCTV cameras to command Surrey to call the police. A SWAT team arrives shortly after to rescue them. In the end, Javier reunites with his son. June and Grace finally settle into a peaceful life, leaving their struggles behind. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.